And so you're asked to do some tests in your lab with a test device, correct?
That is correct. I obtained an iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is the same make and model as the phone that Maggie had.
All right. And what software version was on your test device?
The software that was on my device is iOS 14.8. The one that was on Maggie's was iOS 14.6. So the iOS that was on my device that I tested was slightly newer.
Okay. And did you perform a series of tests with various motions and various throws with this phone to determine, and were you able to develop an opinion of when the screen might come on and when it might not?
Objection, Your Honor. Basis for the objection. Rule 5, this is an experiment performed on the evidence, section something seized, and we have not been provided this.
The objection is overruled. Rule 5 does not apply.
Thank you. So you did perform a number of tests, correct?
Yes, sir. Performed many tests over the weekend. I put pick it up and shake it, pick it up and throw it. I threw it off to my desk. I knocked it off of my desk. I tried to flip it end over end. I tried to throw it like a Frisbee. I did each one at least 10 to 20 times.
Okay. And were the results 100% conclusively? I mean, did the phone do the same thing every time?
No, not at all. Sometimes the screen would turn on. When I threw it, laying face up, and then the screen would turn on. But a lot of the times I would throw it, and the screen would not turn on. It depends on how the accelerometer registered that movement.
So based off of your test, is it your opinion that an iPhone of the same make and model as Maggie's could be thrown and the screen not turned on?
Can't lead the witness.
All right. Did you develop an opinion about whether the screen would turn on every time a phone was thrown?
If the phone is thrown, the screen does not always turn on. In my experimentation, I determined that when the phone is thrown more like a Frisbee, 9 out of 10 times, the screen does not turn on. The times that it did turn on most often was when I pick it up and tried to shake it, then the screen would come on briefly.
Okay. But 9 out of 10 times, when you toss a phone like a Frisbee, the screen would not turn on, correct?
That is correct.
Nothing further from the state.
Yes, it is. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
When you performed these experiments, did you record them in any way?
I did not.
You didn't video record doing any of this?
I did not.
Did you consider video recording any of these experiments?
Actually, it never crossed my mind.
You just did the experiments and then just sort of orally relay when you could have had a video to show us?
That is correct.
If you were going to throw a phone out from a moving vehicle, wouldn't you need to pick it up to toss it?
Certainly.
And if I understand the previous testimony, when you pick it up, the screen comes on.
When you pick it up gently.
So if you pick it up to toss it out the window while you're driving, you got to pick it up. Is that correct?
Correct, and if you pick it up aggressively, it will not.
But not always.
Not always.
Sometimes will, sometimes won't.
Correct.
According to the experiments that you conducted since, when did you do these experiments?
I started it Friday afternoon and into Saturday.
So you did these experiments this last weekend.
Correct.
You did not record any data.
I did not.
You just played with the phone and are coming here to express your observations.
That's correct.
Do you have the phone that you used to do these experiments with you?
Not with me.
Are you aware of how the phone in this, Maggie's phone in this case, how it, when it was located, what its position was? Have you seen the photos?
I have.
And was it screen up?
It was screen up.
Okay. Would you agree then that it had to be thrown from a screen up position, because if it was screened down and you turned it over to throw it out, the screen would come on?
Of course not. It can tumble through the air.
So if the phone was screen down in the car and it ends up screen up over here, it has to turn over, right?
At least one time, yes, sir.
And do you, I guess, disagree with the previous testimony and demonstration that when you take the phone and turn it over, the screen comes on?
No, when you pick it up gently, the screen does come on.
We say pick it up. If you rotate it on that axis so that it's screen down to screen up, does the screen come on?
If I pick it up gently and rotate it, the screen comes on. If I pick it up aggressively, it does not.
And if it's facing you and rotates 90 degrees, does the screen come on?
Only if you do it gently. Again, if you do it aggressively,
How
it will
gently?
not.
Did you measure any of these forces?
I did not.
You just threw the phone around in your office?
Absolutely.
So you didn't record what you were doing, and you did not measure any data.
I
Was
did
this
not.
because you were afraid that you would have to disclose that data if you recorded it?
Of course not, no.
Do you normally do experiments and don't record any data or video, record anything?
It never crossed my mind to record video.
Do you believe that you would have to have disclosed that data if you had recorded it?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
I believe so, yes.
So the reason you didn't record data was that it would have to be produced, and then we could examine it and discover whether or not it was accurate.
No,
you
sir.
avoided that by not recording anything, correct?
No, sir. That's not correct.
Why didn't you record any data?
It did not cross my mind to video record my experiments. I just did the experiments to determine whether or not
And
the screen would
you
turn
didn't
on.
occur to you to measure how fast you were moving the phone? Maybe to even find out what is that threshold you claim where the phone goes from turning on to not turning on? Exactly when does that happen? You have no idea, do you?
No, sir. It would take me much longer to do these experiments to determine the exact speed and force required to turn the display on versus not.
Did you discover any, or did you attempt to locate any documentation regarding the raise to wake feature on the iPhone?
I did. I tried extensively. I reached out to several different forensic surface focus groups that I'm a part of, and we were not able to find any white papers on the subject.
So you were unable to find any actual data on it, so you resorted to throwing your phone around alone? Was anyone with you when you did this?
No, sir. I was alone in my office.
So you're alone in your office, throwing the phone around, taking no measurements, recording nothing over the weekend, and then you come in here and testify as an expert as to what the phone will do,
That's correct.
and testify that it's different than what we've seen it do right here in this courtroom.
That's correct.
Have you ever done this, anything like this before? You'd mentioned testifying 6 times before. Was this your expert testimony in any other case?
My expert testimony in other cases was always about cell phone reports and the data contained therein. I've never actually done physical experimentation to come up with a realistic result.
So your previous experience was extracting data from cell phones, is that accurate?
Correct.
Is that what you're trained to do?
Yes, sir.
The training that was listed, it was to extract data from a cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Are you an engineer?
No, sir.
Do you have any certification in engineering?
No, sir.
Do you have any degree, academic qualifications in engineering?
No, sir.
Have you ever worked as an engineer?
No, sir.
You're trained in extracting data from the cell phone.
That's correct.
And when it comes to tossing it around and seeing how it moves, you don't know anything more than anyone else, do you?
No, sir.
So you had this, Your Honor, based on the previous answer, I would move to strike the expert opinion.
On what basis?
The witness just testified he has no expertise in this. That he just said he has no more knowledge about this than anyone else in the courtroom. That his expertise is in extracting data from the cell phone. And that this opinion is therefore outside of his expertise, and this is inadmissible opinion testimony.
Previously stipulated that he was an expert.
Yes, Your Honor, in extracting data from the cell phone, which was before we got to this testimony about
Says
this.
state.
Your Honor, this witness performed a series of tests. He's reporting on, I'm sorry, Your Honor?
We know that. He's testified to that.
And he's expressed his opinion of what the phone will do in those series of tests. It's not an absolute opinion, but I think he can, his opinion of when the screen would light up is something he tested and something he can testify about.
Anything further?
Your Honor, simply that when he was proffered as an expert before this testimony, it was in extracting data from the cell phone, not in engineering, electrical engineering, which is where he's gone now.
Objections overruled.
So you just testified you have no more knowledge about engineering the iPhone than anyone here, correct?
I know more about how the iPhone works, but no, sir, I'm not an engineer.
You're not an engineer. When you said that the accelerometers are what trigger this feature, how do you know that?
That's from data that's on Apple's website.
So you found something on Raise the Wake that says that the accelerometers are what trigger this feature?
No, sir, that's the only thing that is capable of detecting motion on the phone, besides GPS.